Can you think of any times when that's happened to you?
So many times. There's so many times. It happens all the time, almost. I'm sorry to say it.
You sound very leaky.
I'm so leaky. No, but I've learned how to stop the leak from going nuts.
Do they sell energy depends?
No,
Oh
but
boy.
no.
Oh boy, we're starting out already.
Oh no, but seriously, it's tricky with the energy vampires or the people taking your energy, because usually those are the ones you feel like you want to help, because you get into this room with this person, and you, in my opinion, you can like almost feel straight away, and it's like, it like pulls you down, and you start to get tired, and you start to like think like, I can't think straight, or what is going on.
Welcome to The Air is Free, the podcast that helps you stop gripping what you can't control and start embracing what you can. Join Frida Karsberg and me, Sue Willoughby, as we dive into real conversations about resilience, personal freedom, and finding your center in a chaotic world. Inspired by the Swedish expression "Luften är fri," which means the air is free, this show is about letting go, trusting the process, and remembering that some things in life were meant to be free and limitless. So take a deep breath, let go of what's weighing you down, and let's get into it.
Hello, and welcome back to The Air is Free, otherwise known as
Luften är fri.
Yes, the air is free in so many ways. So today we're just going to jump right into it. Today we're going to talk about leaking energy. Now, it's kind of like when your house, right? You go through an assessment to see where your house is leaking energy. You may need to put in new window sills or whatever. You might need to do some other things to kind of tighten up your house. Well, it's kind of like that. So a lot of times we are leaking energy and we don't even realize it. I can think about times when I have just like left being around people or a certain person or certain people or whatever it was. And I get in the car and I just feel drained. And I'm like, why do I feel that way? And I think there are also people sometimes that I like to call energy vampires, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know about you, Frida, but can you tell when you are leaking energy or you may have an opening, right, that you're not aware of, and someone's sucking energy from you. Can you think of any times when that's happened to you?
So many times. There's so many times. It happens all the time. Almost. I'm sorry to say it.
You sound very leaky.
I'm so leaky. No, but I've learned how to stop the leak from going nuts.
Do they sell energy depends?
God. No, but
boy.
no.
Oh boy, we're starting out already.
Oh no, but seriously, it's tricky with the energy vampires or the people taking your energy, because usually those are the ones you feel like you want to help, because you get into this room with this person, and you, in my opinion, you can like almost feel straight away, and it's like, it like pulls you down, and you start to get tired, and you start to like think like, I can't think straight, or what is going on, and then you realize it's this person in front of you that is just like dunk 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 dunk, pulling out your energy.
Yeah. Yes. And
does that make any sense?
Well, yeah, it does. So I think there's a couple things.
Yeah.
People can, if you don't protect yourself, people can pull energy from you.
Yes.
And I think that we can also just leak energy by giving too much of ourselves. I know that if, I was kind of a people pleaser and I wanted to make sure that, everyone was taken care of except for myself. And I felt depleted a lot of the times. Now,
that's a good word.
Depleted, yeah. And there's another reason for that too. And we've kind of had conversations about human design, right? And there's the 4 different types. I never thought that I was a projector, and that's the type that I am. Human design, look it up. I'll put a link in the show notes. But I'm a projector, so I don't have my own source of energy. I do not generate my own energy. So I have to be very, very careful of how energy efficient I am. Now, I think, are you a manifesting generator or a generator? Do you know? Do you remember?
I think I'm a manifesting generator, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
You do have your own energy source. So you can create your own energy, rejuvenate your own energy, and so on and so forth, right? So, but you can still leak.
I can still leak, for
You
sure.
can still leak and you can still get sucked out. Energy
Mhm.
gets sucked out from you. So
Mhm.
that was just a little diversion into human design. And now that I know I'm a projector, I am uber conscious of how I expend my energy. What
Yeah.
about you, Frida? And I know that you have a lot of things pulling you in different directions. So tell me about that.
I mean, I had an interesting conversation the other day because I think like my whole professional life, I've had to, and this is going to sound a little bit harsh or awkward, but I feel like sometimes I need to be pretty straightforward to get the way I want, or get to people to understand what I want them to help me with or do or whatever. Because I think also I used to be a people pleaser, so I was afraid of, showing my energy, or, getting my words out. Where am I going with this? Yes. So it was so easy to open up too much to please other people when I just wanted them to do something. Not a big thing. It was just like an ask. So I've learned the hard way, because I was depleted too. Because I was afraid to. Um, God, I'm having a hard time finding words today. I was afraid to set my own boundaries and, show myself. I don't know if that answered your question. It was a very long rant, but do you
Well,
understand what I'm trying to get to?
yes, I do. So this is what I'm taking away from that, is
Yes.
that you found a way now where you can be more direct.
Yes.
So you don't feel like you have to like butter the person up and
Yes.
cajole and,
Mm-hmm.
get them, you can just be very straightforward and say, this is what I need. This is what I want. Boom, done. And then that way that kind of cuts to the chase
Yes.
and you don't have to pussyfoot around. Am I
Yeah.
interpreting that correctly?
Yes. Yes, you are. But with that too, people can feel like I'm a little bit square and, edgy, because I'm asking straight instead of going all the loops around. Maybe you can, if you don't mind, instead of like,
Right.
um,
This is what needs to be done, and here's how I
yeah.
would
And I don't
appreciate
put
you to
I
do it.
don't
Right.
put anything into it. It's just like, this is the facts. Can you help me? That would be great. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I have to, yeah, it's hard to maneuver sometimes. Human life and energies and stuff like that, don't you think?
Yeah. This human life is difficult.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking, there's an ad on the on Instagram, right? Everything's ads on Instagram these days, but there's this one guy where he's verbalizing a letter to a client. It's a sales presentation, right? And he starts out by reading it like, I really appreciate, you giving me time today. And he's like gagging, like, right? So, but that's kind of like what you're saying. It's like, don't beat around the bush, get to the point, and just you're not being mean, you're just being direct. And that's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. Now, the thing that I was also looking for or asking you about is that in your personal life and professional life, you have your family, you have your coaching work, you have Reiki. I mean, you have a lot of things and people asking things from you and depending on you. So that is another scenario.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. I think work-wise and professionally with the Reiki and the coaching, I have, I just go into, before I even do a session, I take a minute and I just kind of like bubble up, as I call it. I put my protective bubble, visualize a protective bubble around myself, and it actually works. It sounds silly maybe to pretend you're in a bubble, but for me it works, because my bubble is a very soft bubble, so I can still take in and understand what my clients need guidance with, or support. but I can also say no to the things or the energy that I don't want to come into my like sphere. So that works for me. I think personally it's harder because, you know, you work on a different level when you're with friends and family. You know, yeah, it's hard. I'm just thinking about, yeah, my kids, of course, that I want to, you know, be direct with, but I am also the loving mother that want to listen and understand, and that's like a slippery slope all the time.
It's a leaky slope.
It's a leaky slope for sure.
Well, it's funny
Yeah.
because, you know, I mean, your life and my life are very different.
Yeah.
You know, I live alone. I don't have kids. I don't have a family to worry about. I have 2 demanding dogs. But when you talked about bubbling up before you do work with clients, yes, I agree. And I also try and do that when I'm in public spaces. Like Costco comes to mind. I don't hardly go to Costco anymore, but you know, if I know I'm going to be someplace with a lot of different people and energies and all of that, and you don't really know what, you know, like at the airport, I was traveling this weekend and I do tend to bubble up and be, you know, the observer and not try and get sucked into, because, you know, when you travel, the airport's a very stressful place. People are, you know, they're stressed out because they're trying to get to their plane or they're doing whatever. And it's really easy. I find that is a great place to leak energy, because if you allow people to their stress to get in, then it's going to suck energy out for you, right? Yeah. So the airport's a leaky place.
It's a leaky place.
Plus, and other people are leaking their energy all over the place too. It's just messy. Someone needs to mop that up.
Okay, so whenever you've been to a leaky place like that, what do you do? How do you treat yourself, and how do you make it? You know, how do you recharge? I guess it's a good word.
Well, I try and protect myself as much as possible. Like you said, create like a little energy bubble before if I know I'm going to be in those kinds of situations. I also stay in my lane, and I don't let myself get sucked into other people's stress and confrontations and whatever else. So I try and just stay in my lane and stay calm and centered. And I find that personally is a great way for me to preserve the energy that I have and not give it away. Can I talk about horses now?
Yeah. Of course. That's why we're here, right? What would the horse do? What would the horse do? Or what does the horse do?
So horses, right? We all know now that they are what kind of animals?
They're energy preservers.
Because
right?
they are prey animals. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, why do they preserve their energy? Just because they're prey animals. Why do they preserve their energy?
Because they're smart.
And
oh my God, it's like a test now. I'm like, oh, I can't hear what you're saying.
Okay. The reason, so if they're prey animals, right? And they're out grazing in a field, they're constantly restoring their energy. They don't want to expend any more energy than they need to or want to, because what if a big cougar jumps out, or a plastic bag in some cases, jumps out from behind a tree, and they just have to run, right? And they have to run. They have that fight or flight instinct, right? If they have depleted all of their energy by jumping around and kicking and snorting and playing with their friends, and they're too exhausted to run away, they're going to get eaten, right?
Yeah. So that's a metaphor of everyday life too.
Exactly.
No, but honestly, like, have you ever felt like you start your day early and you have so many tasks to fulfill, so you're just like ding ding, you're going on and on and on. You don't take a break. You don't even like have lunch or sit down for a second. You just keep on going. Like at the end of the day, I don't know my name. You know, it's so exhausting. So please take a minute and just, you know, sit and do nothing, you know, once in a while. I think that's really helpful to just like recharge, even though it's just for a couple of minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. And how can you tell if you, like, you may not know, right? A lot of times, like you said, you just keep going. You're on the treadmill, you know, the metaphoric treadmill, and you're just going one foot in front of the other, go, 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 go. And then you sit down and then you're like, what happened here? How can you tell if you do have an energy leak? I mean, what you personally, what are some signs if you know you've gone too far and You have a little pinhole in your energy bubble and stuff's leaking out. What happens?
I mean, I think the first thing that happens is I can get very like easily annoyed or frustrated or irritated. Like my mood change quickly. I get tired. I can't think straight. Things like that. So I think once I start staring out in the blue and I don't know what to do next, then I'm like, okay, whew, that went too far. Or if I start yelling for no reason, or then I know I need to, recharge. What about you, Sue? When do you know?
Yeah, I think that's good. You do have physical signs. I think we all have physical signs. And I think building some awareness around when we do feel like our energy is being depleted for one reason or another. And I like that you said, you get, testy, right? You may be quick to react or react out of, in a not pleasant way. So same thing. Frustration is the first thing. Will go right out the window. Will be a very apparent thing is I get very easily frustrated, short-tempered, like you said. And then I'm like, okay, I need to, or somebody's bugging you, like all of a sudden somebody that could be your best friend and they're like, I need to get away from you because you are bugging the crap out of me right now. And it's nothing that they're doing. I don't have any energy to deal. So when those things that I really value, like kindness and compassion, when I feel like they're starting to crumble and I'm wanting to flip somebody off or just not be nice, like, okay, I'm going to go to my happy place now. I'm going to remove myself from all situations and I'm going to sit quietly or do whatever. And I think sometimes that may not always be the easiest thing to do, but I do think it's good to be able to step away, even if you just go outside. Like if you're in a work situation or something, if you're feeling these things, like what do you do?
Yeah, and I mean, you want to do it before it starts to get out of control, right? So you have to start learning to read the signs in your body, and you have to understand like, oh, okay, so now it's shifting and it's going faster than I thought, or like I can't, control what's happening inside. So it's a great way to just step out, or like sometimes I say I have to think about it for a little bit, and then I just go away and think about it for a little bit, just calm myself down. And usually what happens is like you understand, or for me at least, I understand this is not such a big deal, and I can kind of like map it out. What happened? What went wrong? Why did I get so upset? And, some things you need to just let go because it's nothing of importance, and some things you can go back and have a conversation about. But I think it's really good to just go away for a minute for yourself and think through like what just happened. Why did I react like this? Is it me, or is it the other person?
Yeah, and like you said, it can happen very quickly, and you don't, before you even realize it, you're off the deep end, and it's hard, like you said, to reel things back once something has escalated. So I love what you said about, I'm just going to recap, listen to your body is what I do. And I think you do that as well. Listen to your body. Are there some physical signs that you are leaking energy, that you are feeling depleted, that you feel like you can't deal or whatever? I think that there are some real physical signs. Sometimes I'll get a headache if I'm really depleted. And then that's time to stop. And even if you can't leave the situation or leave where you are, maybe just sit quietly, walk out to your car, or, go to a different room and just be quiet for a second. Go to the bathroom, right? I don't know, whatever. Sit quiet in there and just take a big 1, 2, 3 deep breaths until you feel more regulated. That's what I do, is just take a deep breath, let it out. Can I start to feel my heart to slow down, or whatever it is that I'm feeling? Can I find a nice quiet center in myself?
Yeah. I mean, now I started to think about all the things you can do to make it like almost like a fun game. I started doing that with my kids because sometimes when I get upset, I can say, a word comes out that is not so nice. But I've started to say silly words instead. It's super silly, but it actually works. So I can say, I don't know, banana instead of something else. It's kind of funny. And what I also do sometimes, if I get angry or frustrated, I can play with the thought of like, what if the feeling had a color or a shape?
Oh,
What would it look like? What if I can take it out and actually look at it? Oh, it's red. It's like, boiling with anger and it's spike, you can play around with that. It's kind of funny and that makes you relax too. And, it's not such a big deal always when you do it like
it
that.
diffuses things.
It diffuses things. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what I do when I have the time.
Well, it's kind of funny. It comes to mind the animated movie Inside Out, where all the different emotions and stuff are at the controls, and you're like, what?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it is sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yes, it's interesting. So, I mean, energy really, it's all around us. It's inside of us. It is in everything. And I think what I'd like to do is just ask our listeners to start building some awareness of when you feel like your energy is being depleted. Think about what that feels like in your body. Like, is it like a big hole and everything's just draining out of you? Or is it like a tiny hole and you can plug it easily? Think about and write down at least 3 times this week when you feel like your energy is being depleted. And then think about what you may do to to stop the leak. Maybe not this time, might be too late, but what can I do next time to stop the leak? So identify and find a tool, right? One of the ones that Frida or I mentioned to help stop the leak, plug the leak, or whatever. What about you, Frida? What would you like to challenge?
Yeah. Oh, I think that's great. I think also, I think a great learning or challenge also can be like sometimes when it's too late already, be okay with that and, apologize to yourself. And if there's another person involved, just say that you're sorry and it happened. And, you also have to accept the fact that we're human beings and sometimes we can't control everything, right? So, yeah, that's something I want people to think about too. It's not so easy always.
No, it's not. But I do think that helps to also dissipate any energy, negative energy that you may have taken in as a result of maybe a leak, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what horses do. They'll have that moment of confrontation or something, and then they'll let it go.
Yeah.
They don't hang on to it.
Yeah, that is so
Sorry,
true.
I tried to eat your hay and you kicked me in the head. I won't do that again.
Now I know.
Now I know.
Yeah.
Not my hay. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So I think about the horse that's out grazing in the field and just visualize the horse grazing, charging, recharging, building up their energy store so that when you do need it for something good or to save yourself or whatever, that your battery's full. Yeah. It's not in red. Nothing worse than that feeling and not having a charger handy.
Oh my God. No, that's the worst.
Exactly. All right. Well, that's all we've got for you today for leaking energy and plugging the hole. Anything you'd like to wrap it up with, Frida?
I mean, you know me. I always like to wrap it up with be yourself, go with the flow, and do what you got to do.
All right. There you go. Well, that's another quick episode of how to identify leaks in your energy and how to preserve your energy for when you really need it. Let us know in the comments if you found some energy leaks and how you were able to plug them up. And as always, if this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend, like, subscribe, and pass on the goodness. And don't forget, the air is free. Until next week, this is Sue Willoughby and
Frida Karsberg. We have to work on that.
Have a good week, everybody. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Bye.
That's it for today's episode of The Air is Free. I hope this conversation gave you something to think about, something to let go of, and maybe even a little more space to breathe. If you enjoyed this episode, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button, rate and review the podcast because it helps more people find us and join in the conversation. And if something resonated with you, share it on social media and be sure to tag us. We'd love to hear your thoughts. You can follow us on Instagram, hit us up on our websites. Just come, say hi, send us a message, or let us know what topics you'd love to hear more about. Until next time, take a deep breath, let go of what you can't control, and remember, Luften er free.